We are live, it says. Let me just double check to make sure that we are officially live.
How exciting.
I know, isn't it
That's
crazy?
live to me.
Here I am waiting to see it.
Do you want someone to comment?
Okay, no, it is live. Great.
I got a
All right.
notification
Well, hello, everyone. Hi, my name is Anders. I'm the host of Syrvivor Maryland. I hope you enjoyed the premiere of Syrvivor Maryland Major Conflict, Episode 1. Tonight, I have some wonderful guests for you. I'll give them a second to introduce themselves, anything about them, what college they come from. But we're just going to be talking about, of course, the episode. So if you haven't seen it yet, I would recommend watching that before you watch the live show because we will be spoiling everything about it. But yeah, thank you so much. Like, comment, subscribe. We have a post-episode poll, but I will pass it off to Cooper.
Well, thank you for having me, Anders. Yes, I hosted at Syrvivor Michigan for 3 seasons. I also played on season 1. So if you've seen any Syrvivor Michigan season that is out, you should have seen me. If not, I don't know what you were doing. But yeah, thanks for having me, Anders.
Aaron.
Hi, I'm Aaron. I'm also from Syrvivor Michigan. I'm a player from the currently airing season 3. So definitely go head over and watch that after you watch Maryland, the premiere of this. 2 great seasons going on at once.
Luke.
Hey guys, I'm Luke. I'm from Syrvivor Syracuse, host of Syrvivor Syracuse for 3 seasons going on 4. And yeah, thank you, Anders, for having me here. Excited. Great episode. And yeah.
Lily.
I'm Lily. I'm from Syrvivor Maryland. Not going to be relevant for a little while, but yeah. I'm a player.
Lily is from Generation 3, so she'll be coming out in 20 years.
Yeah.
First, I want to say that I don't know if you guys can tell. This happened. It started September 10th, 2016. I don't know if you could tell. This was 4 years ago. I know. It's crazy. It was a different time back then. But very excited to have it done. I guess let's start with sort of general thoughts about what you had with the episode. Whoever wants to start.
I like the tribe divisions. Major conflict. I know in Syracuse we thought about doing that, but we just couldn't find a way to do it. But I like how you guys split it up between humanities and STEM. I'm a bit biased as a humanities guy myself, but it's going to be interesting how that plays a role for sure.
That was going to be my first comment too, was basically I love that theme. We did that at Michigan one time, that you will see that eventually, but I loved the theme. It's just it works so well at colleges, right? Like, it's like you always see it on Survivor. They try to do like different themes, and this is just such a natural one. Like Luke, I am biased towards my people, but those are the STEM people, so that's tough. Although I do think, I don't know, I do think that it's probably going to be humanities being a little more dominant, but I got to stick with my STEM people.
Yeah, I'll jump in. I'm also Team Humanities. We've got Santi in there, who's like a government and politics major, and like I was a political science major, so definitely rooting for him specifically, as well as the Humanities Tribe in general. I did just want to ask though, like you mentioned puppeteering as a major in the intro. Is that like real? Do you have a puppeteering major?
You saw the statue. Jim Henson, the creator of the Muppets, went to Maryland, and they really love to talk about the Make a Major program. Like you can create your own major, and he created puppeteering. It's not, I don't think a lot of people do it, the major, but it's something that occurred at UMD. It's something they're very proud of, and they will talk about any tour you go to. So puppeteering is a thing at Maryland. It was started by Jim Henson, but we didn't have any puppeteers this season.
That is so upsetting. That's, wow.
Did you want someone in confessional talking through a puppet?
Yes!
Like, I really want to vote out this person. Miss Piggy is there.
Yeah, I also would have been on the Humanities Tribe. I think it's going to be really interesting, though, to see how those 2 tribes are going to be very competitive against each other. I'm excited.
So here's the thing. So I'm also a humanities major. I was business. So of course I had a little bit of bias, but I wasn't ever going to do anything to make it that way. I do have a question. This is a very interesting theme, but going into it and like the first day, I think a lot of people were resistant to the idea that STEM and humanities are different, that people with different types of majors may act differently or think differently. In my mind, I'm not saying that everyone who's a STEM major is complete, like, I must look at fact and figures. And I'm not saying everyone who's humanities, like, doesn't do any work or they're just about, like, vibes. But I did feel like there were stark differences in the way that they combat issues. So I want to know from your perspectives, is that something that you would agree with? You, three of you are humanities, one of you is STEM, or just the way that you observe things. Is that true? Is that a thing that would actually divide people?
Yeah.
Do you want to go first, Peter?
No, all you.
I think, like, personally, like, as a humanities major, I'm government and politics, all that kind of stuff. I think it gives me more of a social edge. However, like, as you saw in the first challenge, like, sometimes having things like knowing the math of the whatever the hell they did for their individual thing definitely will help you out. But I think as, like, a social strategic thing, I think being a humanities major is going to help a lot of them. But that's just my personal bias. So.
Yeah. I mean, I think I do agree with you, Anders, that I think it's so, like, you can very much stereotype, like, those two different types of people. And stereotypes, right, like, they aren't always true, but they are, the stereotypes are there for a reason. Like, a lot of those STEM people I can see as being more, like, analytical thinking. And you get the more, like Lily was saying, like, the humanities people, they'll be more, like, socializing, and they'll definitely look at the game two different ways. So, no, I agreed totally with kind of your whole intro package.
No, yeah, I totally agree with what they both said, and like it's going to be interesting to see how, like, I agree that, like, humanities is more socially, more like vibe inclined, but I think, like, even in the episode when Dane or they were doing, like, their freaking team tribe, like the STEM people wanted to, like, do something STEMish, so I want to see how, like, come a swap or come, like, when people start to mix together, are the STEM people just going to stay STEM and then the humanities are, like, the social kids? It's going to be interesting once it gets down to that.
Yeah, I don't know. I might come in and, like, disagree, because it might be, like, what they're, what they study, what they're taught. But I don't know that there's necessarily a personality type that aligns with each of these things. Like, it all has to come down to an individual level anyway. Like, maybe I don't know. I think I can kind of see it, because you do see a lot of these STEM people, and, like, Teresa was kind of an automatic target in that tribe, just because she was, like, everyone described her as type A, and she was kind of more of that out there social figure. And all of the rest of the STEM tribe kind of, I think, was trying to sit back, be background figures, which might be just a personality trait of that major, of that tribe, whatever. And more of the humanities people might feel more comfortable being out there, things like that. But I think it's all on an individual basis, because even so, like, I think the person with objectively the most connections in the game is Doug, who is a person on the STEM tribe. So, you can't necessarily take away the social aspect or the social nature of any individual on that tribe just because they're coming from this STEM background.
For sure. And what a political science answer to. I disagree, but let me also see both sides to it. Absolutely love it. Yeah, I think you bring up a good point about the connections thing. George Jane of Survivor Michigan did remark to me how open people are with their just prior connections this season. And I'm sure we'll get into it, but I just want to talk about, like, it truly is insane just how many connections there are, but, like, how much of a web it really is, and how much it almost negates itself by being so prevalent. If only one person really has connection to multiple people, that one person is stronger. But if so many people have connections, it effectively negates everything. If everyone has a connection, then it's almost like it's just another layer of playing the game. You saw it. We'll talk about it.
How do you find all these people that, like, already know each other? I swear, like, if people know each other at Michigan, that's, like, a huge, like, deal, and that's, like, on the DL. Like, do not tell people, or that's gonna, like Santi just came out and was like, yeah, I, like, knew Doug in high school, like, my roommate's playing, like.
Well, they're roommates. It's like, how do you hide you live
There
with
were
them?
roommates on my season, and at final tribal council, they then revealed that. Like,
Damn.
You can hide it. You can.
But it's like, you can, but it's almost like an unnecessary risk. one thing to know that someone has a relationship. It's another thing to find out, especially roommates. If anyone finds that out, your relationship is done. You didn't show enough trust in that person to tell them something that's not hidden. Also, like, a lot of these people, like, they have pictures on social media, or like they have door decks. Like last season, Swally and Michael lived in the same room. They had their names on it. And Swally was like, yes, Michael is my roommate. And then when Michael was like, I didn't know that Swally and Susan live in my building, it's like, dude, it's not a secret if everyone said it already. So I think in terms of roommate stuff like Delaram, Abby, Santi, and Doug, you have to be forthcoming. Like Santi just shows up in that meeting. What? Doug's gonna be like, I don't know how he got here.
Yeah.
I just thought it was crazy how fast everyone was just like, yeah, here's like everybody I know. Like here's literally all the connections I came into the game with. Like every single person. It wasn't like, sure, maybe a few of them were like spilling it so that they didn't get caught, but like everyone was just out in the open with it. That's what shocked me.
Oh yeah, totally.
Well, I think something that you'll notice from Santi's confessionals is he talks about how honest he's going to be with everyone about his relationship. So he comes out and says right away, Doug and I are roommates. And I think the other girls also said that they were roommates pretty early on, because that's kind of hard to hide. Like, I don't know how you could just invite someone into your room or into your suite or your apartment and be like, oh yeah, ignore that sign of someone else's name who's playing. But I think it played a lot into Santi's game because he says right away that he's going to be honest about it.
I know.
Go ahead, Luke.
Okay. I know in our first season of Syracuse, like we were just in the ball rolling, so I had to take from like different groups of people. So we literally had 4 people from the same sorority and like 3 people that lived in the same floor in the same building, and everyone was open about it. And like no one. That's the thing that shocked me the most. No, they were never targets. And like most of them made it to the merge, and then at that point it was just guns a-blazing. So it's like, I mean, they're honest about it, so maybe that's a trustworthy thing. But it shocks me that it's not as big of a threat that it is.
But Cooper, if your question was how do we find people who already have these connections, I mean, the answer is like we find one. They say this seems like a really cool club. Hey, everyone from this organization, do it. And then it's like, oh, look at all these very interesting, diverse, different personalities we can bring in. They happen to have connections, but like I'd rather have a season filled with connections and fun people than a season with completely new people who are boring.
Oh, for sure.
So also like when it comes to like frats or whatever, I think that's also something that you maybe have to be a little bit more forthcoming with, because like Liam and Jasmine are both in a frat. They're both in Phi Chi, which is a business fraternity. And they're both going to mention it at some point. They're both going to have to go to events. If you completely almost ignore the fact that someone from that frat is in the game, again, it's back to the trust thing. And then Delaram and Dane are both in Theta Tau, which is the engineering, one of the engineering frats. So, again, I think it's like, do they even see it as a strategic thing, or like, hey, you know, you got a package deal here?
I think it's also interesting, the roommates specifically, how differently they tackled that. Because I know basically right off the bat, like Santi and Doug were both like, yeah, like, you know, we're roommates, we're tight, like we're going to be working together. Whereas Abby was kind of like, yeah, I hate her. Like she was like, I don't think Delaram, like the girl in the pink shorts, she's the worst.
No,
and
but that was...
No, I get that. Like I know she was kind of, but then even in their confessionals, like Delaram was like, yeah, no, like she's kind of shady. Like I don't want to work with her. I don't think I trust her. And like Abby was, you know, saying the same kind of thing. So like they're kind of on a stilted like roommate relationship, whether it's fake or not, because that is still an easy connection to fall back on. Like you live with this person, obviously you're gonna be talking game all the time, like. But I think it's so funny that they both kind of presented themselves in those vastly different ways.
Well, I think it's also in that situation, Abby was talking to Mike, who knew her beforehand because of Quidditch. That's a connection that was blatant, not because I think they were thinking strategically, just because like Quidditch, woo! You know, you play Quidditch, you're going to bring it up. But they, I think she was more like, I hate my roommate, she's the worst. I think it's like a fun sort of rivalry thing as opposed to I'm thinking strategically, I want to get her out. But yeah, let's get into the episode a little bit. So we meet the STEM tribe. You know, some of them get some confessionals like Chris, Dane, Teresa, Doug, Amanda, Eric. give me your first impressions of the STEM tribe.
Eric's my guy.
Yes.
I love Eric. Just like
Eric
he rolls with the weird. He's just like Tony 2.0. Hopefully he doesn't have the same as Tony 2.0. But no, I love Eric. He's just like, I don't know. There's something about him. Also POC, fellow POC, we love that. But yeah, he's just a weird guy, the character.
He is a weird guy. He did come in and immediately go, so has anyone else not worked out in 3 years?
I saw that.
I wish I had the video clip of it. I don't, but I know it happened.
Yeah, loved Eric. I think it was everyone that kind of started to arrive. Like they were like realizing right away how few of them they were. Everyone from the STEM tribe arrived on time. Like there were no Evans in that group. But I think it was really interesting the way that they came in, and it was kind of like the big people first, like how it was like Chris and Teresa were the first couple to arrive, which kind of like makes sense given their like future confessionals, like their personalities, things like that. But then it was kind of like people came in, they were just doing the regular introduction stuff, but it all seemed kind of laid back, like nobody was super, analytical about it for the STEM tribe. But yeah, Eric coming in and being like, I just want to be weird. Like, what, good for you, man. You
Also,
want it.
do we think that weird is the best disguise for evil?
Yes, I tried it. Yes.
I don't know if it's like the best disguise, but it's definitely a good one because people are just like expecting you to be like easy to like be dragged along and like not expecting you to like kind of cut through, like be a cutthroat person because you're like quirky and different. So it works, but I don't know if it's like the best disguise,
Yeah. I was also Eric's definitely like the standout in terms of like the character on that tribe, like 100,000,000%. I was so worried for him when he like got that advantage. I was like, oh my God, like tell somebody about it like ASAP. Like don't hide it. Like you need to earn trust now because you are already like you are the first person that everyone thinks of. So I'm glad he told Dane, and just knowing he kind of has that connection of like, okay, maybe he'll stick around a few episodes. We'll get some more Eric. So that was like A+.
It would be such a shame to lose Eric the first episode.
Yeah.
I fully agree with that. Let's talk about the Humanities Tribe. We can also bring in Evan, even though he was a full 45 minutes late. Let me make this note here. You notice, STEM Tribe arrives right then, and they talk there. That was not supposed to happen. They were supposed to meet at the arena and find out this is how they're divided. What happened was Evan was 45 minutes late. Like it's a full, like we're waiting 20, 30 minutes, and I'm getting texts like, Anders, should they just go to the field where humanities are? And I was like, you know what? Go ahead. Like if that's what they want to do, go ahead. I don't have a problem with it. Because like Evan fully would not respond to texts or calls. At a certain point where like, I guess we're just gonna have uneven tribes. Like I don't know what to do. Because like, with Swally last time, it was like, he said he'd be late. And then he was just 45 minutes late, and they just had to wait here for him. This one was two separate tribes. They don't know what's going on. Oh, we're still waiting for one person. Bring him over.
Doesn't
So
that
let's talk
happen?
about humanities.
There's got to be one person every season who's just like very late to the first day.
Like that's how you make an entrance though. Like arrive 45 minutes late, just walk in and say what's Gucci. Like I don't know how it get like he couldn't have arrived any other way. I think that was absolutely perfect, and I hope that character like maintains. Like I hope it just is his character.
That's literally how he will start any conversation. What's Gucci? I mean, it's he. Give me your thoughts.
He's so screwed if the next time they lose. If it's not him, I will be absolutely astonished. Like literally astonished. He's just I don't know. Those are my thoughts.
Yeah, I don't have like the highest hopes for him when they go to tribal, if they do. Just as someone who's been late and didn't really get much confessional time the first episode, I don't see his effort level being high enough to save him.
Man, I saw in the preview, I think it was him and Ivy. I might be wrong, but
yeah.
I mean, if if he gets more committed, well, maybe he had a good reason, but maybe he gets more committed next episode. So I wouldn't totally write him off, but we've seen wilder things in Survivor, but who knows? He's not looking too hot.
Yeah. Humanities Tribe in general, like, yeah, loved Evan, loved his entrance, but like just the general Humanities Tribe, I think that they were immediately like, I think, yeah, a little bit more social or whatever, but I think they were also immediately more suspicious of one another. Like the STEM tribe was kind of all just trying to get to know each other, but I know a lot of like the humanities confessionals were like, yeah, I'm talking with this person. I don't really trust this person. Like, I'm really suspicious of like this person or whatever. Like, it was a lot of just, you know, like I feel it was like Santi was telling, I think it was Angie, like basically everything, but then she was still like, yeah, I don't really trust Santi. Oh my God, I just told you everything.
Yeah, but what if he's hiding some information?
Right.
I mean, as a humanities major, I'm also very big into overthinking, so maybe that will also hurt them in a way. Maybe they're going to think too much about the other people and about the relationship. So,
a person I really like on the humanities side is Morgan. I think she just comes with like a very chill, positive, like not overthinky attitude, and I think that'll do her well. Plus, she's in the Tape Alliance, which I'm a big fan of. But yeah.
I am very high on Liam and Jasmine. Those two are like, boom. I see them going far. That's my take.
I 100% agree, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you did see this episode where Liam tells Mike, yeah, we're not that close, and then it immediately cuts to Liam and Jasmine talking and saying everything.
It was just the one, like, they were the one pair that I was like, oh my God, maybe they can actually hide how close they are, and they're like kind of doing that, and I was like, thank God, at least somebody's trying. Like, maybe that's
emotional about them, like being like, oh, I don't think they're that close, and then it cutting straight to them like talking one-on-one. So that was really fun to watch for sure.
I think that was fully on Mike though. Like Mike was literally like, yeah, they're in the same frat, but I don't think they're that close. Like, why would you assume that they're not close? Like, that's the worst thing you can do with like two people that already have an established connection. Like, why would you assume that they're not close?
Oh. They're not close. I wouldn't worry about it.
They're in the same frat.
So we get to the arena, and I tell them that we're going to do an individual challenge. Actually, before we even get to that, because I think they named their tribes first, let's go over tribe names. Okay, last season, I know Ferocity and Base Squad were garbage. I'm aware. It's a true nightmare to even be reminded of Base Squad. Someone recently was like, it sounds like a marketing executive's attempt to like get in with youth culture because it's Bay and Squad, and I'm like, no, it wasn't the reference.
They were like, let's walk up and dab at the other tribe.
Oh, Natalia Queen.
Wow, this is really an old episode. Like,
oh yeah, that is such an old, and Mike's Yik Yak shirt.
Oh my God, yeah.
That
that dated this episode. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a campus ambassador for our Yik Yak. Mike's real big on his Twitter and Yik Yak games, so that's his thing. So Pascala Chikasha, what are your thoughts?
Is Pascala like a reference to Alex Pascal?
No, Pascal's triangle. It's a mathematic.
Now I like it less.
It is a STEM thing.
It is a STEM thing.
Pascal. I appreciated it.
Fellow.
You got good tribe names. Oh my God. You must be so honored.
I honestly much happier than with last season.
They're good names. I don't know where Chikasha came from then. Like, I don't know. They just like say syllables and they were like, yeah, those sound fun.
They wanted to do Mufasa, and I was like, no, you're not going to be the Lion King. And so they really just sort of fumbled around for too long. We're like, I guess Chikasha, except some of them didn't get that memo and decided it was Chikashi.
Yeah.
There's always one tribe that decides, let's do it all together, but not do it correctly.
That was funny to watch.
It was good.
It was Liam who got it wrong, right? That was funny.
It was multiple people.
Them, yeah.
And then it was like Evan was just very loud correctly. King Evan. Okay, so we get to the individual challenge. We're starting off with an individual challenge instead of just voting someone off immediately. What a twist. We always love our twist openings. So we have the winners, Eric and Liam. Eric, of course, finishes it because he's a computer science major and he's done this 100 times. He explains how to do it at the end anyways. So
King shit.
how do you guys feel about these two winning these advantages, which we know is a vote steal? What do we think about those two having that?
I was personally, I see this, like, winning this, like, advantage challenge as a lot like winning the first HOH in Big Brother. Like, you're kind of, I don't know that it's necessarily good to put that target on your back that early. Like, it gives you that power, and, like, yeah, that's really cool. But to have like 2 vote steals in the game that are both good until final 5, I think is going to be very crazy, because they could come into play like pre-merge, pre-swap even, but like it wouldn't necessarily be beneficial unless it's going to be close. But given, like, I don't want to skip to the end of the episode, but given that it like wasn't a unanimous vote, you don't know what's going to happen even in these early tribals. But if those both made it to the merge, I think it's going to be absolutely crazy. And I am a big fan of Eric having it. Like, I think that did help him a lot in his name not getting thrown out for this episode. And then I think Liam also is a good contender to have that. Like, I think he's going to do good things with it as well.
It's very much the first HOH. They're going to make their mega alliances and then bully the rest of the people not in it until the very end, and it's super fun.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think those two, like, so far, not much has been said in confessionals about it, but I'm excited to see when people start actually talking about that, being like, oh, remember when this person got an advantage? I wonder what it is, and for that to become, like, more relevant to the future episodes, but didn't see much other people outside of the two of them talking about it, so it's definitely going to be interesting.
I really liked Liam's awareness with it. I think that's why I really like him. Like, when he was talking about it, he said, like, oh, I have this, but it's still 10 people, but people know that I have it, so I should probably not hold on to it too long because I'll be seen as a threat. So I like his intrinsic, like, kind of thought process with it, and I think he'll do well with it in general.
Yeah, Eric reflected on it going, I shouldn't have done it so fast. I feel like I made myself a target. And I don't know if I edited it correct. It took like 10 seconds. Like, I want to be clear. Did it real quick.
Yeah, my thought on that was actually, like, he kind of brings up a little bit, but if you just come out and be like, no, I've just, like, done this puzzle before. Like, I got lucky that, like, I've just seen it before. I know exactly how to do it because I've done it. That's not like like, that in itself is like, oh, it's not like he's, like, some, like, super genius, blah, blah, blah. As long as you spin it like that, like, he should be totally fine. As long as he, like, keeps kind of that spin up.
And then we get to Steal the Bacon. So this time, I don't know if I specifically said it in the episode, but last season it was like ranking yourselves 1 to 9. We switched it up to do gender. So it's just male versus male, female versus female, or I say like 1 male, 1 female. So it's a lot more of a like strategy part than you make one strategic decision once, and then you have Shayna versus Faith and Dawn versus Matt. So we start out with Mike versus Eric. Which, I mean, look at Mike. He is a Quidditch player. He's a very strong boy. And then you have Eric, who admitted to never exercising in the past 2 years. And Eric wins. So let's hear your thoughts about Steal the Bacon. There are a lot of moments that we will reference, and Nick M from Survivor Maryland wants to talk about a couple, but we'll get to those.
Eric is the king. That's all I say. That reminds me of a modern day Mitch Vargas from Syrvivor Syracuse. He's on season 2, going out October 22nd, just saying. But no, it was like, I've always wanted to do Steal the Bacon, and it was a fun way to start it off. Seeing Mike lose to Eric was hilarious. Seeing Teresa getting dragged by Abby was also great. But yeah, no, it was fun.
No, I feel like nothing, I mean, it was edited in a way that nothing was super duper close in that challenge. I think each tribe really had a standout for each round, but there were a few that it was definitely close, including the last round of the challenge. So that made it very interesting to watch.
Wasn't the last round of the challenge, Liam ran in and just grabbed it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of the one before. There was one where there were 2 people versus another 2 people, and it was pretty close.
Yeah. No, the one with Liam was just run and done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Truly a horrible thing for STEM just to watch happen.
I think both of Eric's rounds were my favorite because the first one was him destroying Mike, which I loved because Mike's cockiness was like, I did not like that at all. Like I'm not a Mike fan. I'll say that. So I loved Eric like dragging him over the edge. And then I also loved in Eric versus Santi when Santi literally picked Eric up and carried him to like across their side. I was like, yeah, that's one way to do it. Like, I love it.
Yeah.
And then
As much as you edited Mike to be tall, I think it was a tough edit because his Eric was just so much bigger than him. It was just like boom, like didn't matter. The end worked out in like 3 years or whatever. But also, I just love that you like started with this challenge, Anders. Right? Like this is just a good way to like kick off the season in terms of like this is a competition. Like come to play hard. Like we're gonna start. Like this is no joke. Like come here to play. So I love that you kicked them into that mindset like first challenge.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Anytime you start with Steal the Bacon, the season is just going to be more intense because people are going to start talking right away because they know that this is what they came for. They came to play. They came to fight, literally and like emotionally. So it's fun to watch them.
yes, the game is an emotional Steal the Bacon.
You get beef between the two tribes right away too. Like Steal the Bacon is just like automatically like somebody is gonna do something to the other tribe, like Liam, like cleaning dust and stuff.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna get people like mad at each other. That's going to affect later in the game.
So it's so funny because I don't know if it was like direct cleating. I think to this day Liam still denies that he cleated Doug, but it's so funny because it created such anger on their tribe. Like, and they beat Liam. He had the cleats and he still lost. And they're like, this guy fucking had cleats. Like that's so messed up.
The intensity of that I had to hear it like 3 years after it actually happened from multiple of them. Like they really talked about that moment.
And like he brought it of his own volition. He said, "I use them to play Quidditch, so I'll use them for Survivor Maryland." But yeah, there were a couple really intense rounds, like the Santi and Chris and Dane and I'm blanking on the. But just the like immediacy of tripping over, pushing down, like yeah, Steal the Bacon is a violent challenge. But I think you're right, Cooper. It really gets them into it, for better or for worse. But yeah, I do love it. Any other thoughts on it?
I mean, yeah, I think it also does help with like the whole like afterwards when the Humanities Tribe ended up winning, like when Shikasha won and Mike had his confessional where he was like, yeah, and we really bonded, we were all high-fiving and hugging. Like, I think it really helps after a big physical challenge like that when you're like adrenaline's going and it does kind of help you with that group bonding thing. And in the same aspect, like, if you're the tribe that loses after all of your endorphins are going, your adrenaline's flowing, and then you like are just depressed together, like that's another kind of bonding. Less fun, but it's still bonding.
Fully.
My other two thoughts on it were Abby was a beast, as well as you could kind of see like Teresa's like personality coming out, and like she was like they kind of describe her as like very type A, which you can just see through the screen, right? Like she was like, I'm gonna like go against their strongest girl, like I've got this, like blah blah blah. So you can kind of see like Teresa's character building during this challenge as well a little bit.
And she did it. She did it twice. She went against their strongest person, which some people on their tribe were like, or we could have had 2 extra points. I mean, yeah, cool. Good job with your pride.
I mean,
someone mentioned this. We haven't even talked about before the challenge the entrance of Eric and talking about his Toastmasters club.
Okay.
So to be clear, it's Toastmasters.
Yeah.
It's a club about public speaking. But it's weird because no one ever talks about it. So like everyone just kept hearing Postmaster General.
I love this kid.
I thought it was so strange that nobody knew what Toastmasters was. I feel like that's not an unknown thing.
I didn't know what that was.
At the same time, I think that was a very weird, and like he really nailed his thing of being weird with his introduction to both his own tribe and the other tribe. And I think that's exactly what he wanted to go for. But I think it even rubbed his own tribe the wrong way, because I think it was like somebody, I don't remember who it was, but somebody was like you're advertising your other
It was
club. Right?
Teresa.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
Well, you know,
it was very awkward to watch that encounter. I wasn't sure if he was trying to like pretend like they weren't playing Survivor to get some sort of information out of the other tribe, but it was confusing to say the least. It was edited awkward, and I'm sure it was just as awkward in person.
oh baby, that's just what it was like. I see this group of people walking up. You're like, it's Survivor, and then the first guy goes, "You guys want to join Toastmasters?"
If there's one thing, he's winning at perfecting his strategy of being weird, because I'm pretty sure everyone thinks he's weird at this point. So, hey, if it works out for him, I'd love to see it. Oh, what a guy.
Hi, Kim.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's also my reaction when I heard about it. Same with last season when Tony talked about his affection for cats and women. It's really like, what a cool way to introduce yourself to complete strangers and not ostracize yourself.
True.
Yeah.
Just so strange.
I just realized I can find the comments on this as we speak.
Okay, so we have the winners and the losers. So obviously, winning the first challenge, they get the immunity idol clue. They get a couple days off. They are thrilled. Let's talk a little bit about what happened there, the strategizing, how we feel about their chances, all that. I know we didn't get to see too much of Ivy and Evan and Josh and Abby, but we can only fit so much in an episode, and like there are certain relationships that just kicked off that were shown.
Yeah, I feel like enough people talked about Abby too, that like she's going to be in a fine position. I'm not necessarily worried for her going forward. I think enough people wanted to work with her. You kind of heard around that people were talking about Mike and Abby being a pair already. I think a lot of people were pairing off pretty immediately, like Liam and Jasmine, Mike and Abby, Santi and Angie, I think, were together.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was like the tape alliance, which was Morgan and who else?
Jasmine.
Morgan and Jasmine. Yeah, Jasmine's in a very good position. But yeah.
Yeah, I definitely noticed Jasmine really fitting herself in pretty good on the first episode and making a lot of alliances and connections.
Yeah, I think it was Jasmine, like in her meeting with Liam, when she was like, "Yeah, I just like get vibes from people." I was like, "Yeah, okay, sure."
It's the Humanities way of talking strategy. I get the vibes. I don't like their vibes. We saw some forming of relationships, and the real, like, it was between these 6 people. It's like Mike has Santi, and he has Abby and Liam has Jasmine and Mike, Santi, and Morgan has Jasmine, and Angie has, it's a web, really, which is not surprising. They're Humanities Tribe. They make a web of people.
They're networking.
They're networking.
Cooper,
did you feel lost in all this Humanities?
I was like, yeah. I just actually skipped that part, Anders. I was like, give me STEM. But the one other thing I will say that I really liked about Jasmine, I know she's getting a lot of love, so I'll toss in some more. The 2 people that kind of seem most on the outs on that tribe to me are kind of like Ivy and Evan-ish. And someone was saying that like Ivy like didn't really want to like go after Evan, and Jasmine was like, why would she even care? Like, I like that she like had the like forethought to be like, why, like, Evan is so clearly on the outs, like, why do you even like, why are you not going along with that? So I thought that was just another thing that she'd like picked up on that was very like, I liked that. But I said before, like, I love Liam and Jasmine on that tribe. I think they're like in the core, to me at least.
Well, I have I'm going to transition to STEM right now. I have a special guest for us. Here we have our queen, Natalia.
Hello.
Hi.
Natalia, long time no see.
Oh, I know.
Natalia, first off, how did it feel to see yourself finally after so many years?
It was so strange. I thought, am I going to be disappointed by myself? Like, did I do everything wrong? But then I saw that last part when they voted me out, and I was like, nah, girl, you did fine.
You said none of their jokes are funny.
Yeah, I was nervous about that, and I was also like, I wonder what they said about me, like what was being said, and I finally getting to see it gave me closure.
Oh, they loved you. There was so much of it that's like, I love Natalia. She's so funny. Can we please keep her?
Oh yeah.
So Natalia, I want your perspective on this too. You guys lose the first challenge, and you're heading to the diner. And could you sort of describe how that worked? What happened? Why you and Dane were separated?
Like why we were separated? Oh yeah, because they recently they had changed the dining plan so that not everybody could just go in. You had to have like the dining plan to go into the dining hall, or you pay like $20. And I was like, I'm broke. Like this is college. I love you all, but I'm not paying $20 to like be hanging out with you guys right now. And also I wasn't prepared for it, so it's not like I just brought $20 to my first day on Survivor, you know? And yeah, so then Dane didn't have it either, and then we had to go sit somewhere else, which I saw that he was like, Natalia's not talking, she's on her phone. I remember that because I was dealing with some roommate bullshit. That's why I was on my phone. But I guess, it came off the wrong way.
It's very funny because it's like, well, if you weren't on your phone, you'd be FaceTiming into a lunch conversation, which, I mean, like, I guess it's the most prime strategy time.
Yeah, I guess.
Strategy time. FaceTiming into the South Campus diner. Nothing better.
Everyone knows the most strategy talks happen when the entire tribe is together.
Yeah. So
that's when all of the strategizing happens.
True.
Next time I'll just give more of myself.
So, Natalia, you guys lose. Where did you feel like there was any blame to be cast on anyone? Did you really feel like Teresa did cost you the win? Or was it just because, what caused you to feel like you lost and also to have sort of a, let's target Teresa?
Well, I mean, honestly, like, I feel bad now because I realized that she did like me, but I do feel like it was her just because she saw like Dale's roommate and she's like, she's a big girl. Let me go up against her. And I was watching her and I was like, oh my God, that was awful. Like you were just getting pulled like a little like piece of paper by like a tornado. I'm like, this isn't cute. And she should have known. And then she was, I laughed because then we were like at the end and she was like, I just thought that people appreciated that I went up twice against like the bigger girl. And I'm like, no one appreciated that. Like you caught, like you're the reason we're here.
Max, go off.
But I was like, okay, whatever. Yeah, she's brave.
So let's also talk a little bit about. So I didn't have a lot of footage of you strategizing. I don't know if there wasn't just a lot of film of it, but like, where did you feel like you came in terms of strategy? Who were you talking to? What was being said?
I talked to Amanda.
I know it's 4 years ago, so it's really easy to remember everything you did in September.
Yes. I talked to Amanda for a little while. I don't remember what was said. I feel like she was saying that she was on my side. Obviously, she's not going to come to me and be like, I'm voting you out. But I talked to Teresa too. And she was like, no, like, I love you. Like, we want to keep you on. And she had told me that she talked to a lot of people, which now watching this, I'm like, your multiple personalities don't count. I was like, no, I'm kidding. No. So I was like, okay. And I guess I kind of believed her, but I knew that I was going to vote for her. And even I guess if people had brought me in to their like strategies and told me like, vote for this person, I feel like for me, it still would have been her. Just because like the performance was not good. And I know they mentioned a lot of like, she's strong and like, she's going to pull us through like where we're like lagging a little bit. And I'm like, is she though? Because she did not. And I feel like someone, I think it was Eric, he said, you know, Natalia, like, she's not very strong. Like, physically, we just need, like, better people. But I did my part. I got us a point. So yeah, back to the strategy. I really didn't talk to a lot of people, and I did slack off on that a little bit just because I thought, okay, they're going to reach out to me, which was bad on my part. I should have done more. But I was just nervous, and I think I did try to reach out to some people. Some just weren't getting back to me, but I definitely spoke to Teresa and Amanda.
Yeah, I do have that like in my notes. I wrote, Natalia, why are you surprised when after you got voted out? You talked to nobody.
I don't like I think I talked to why am I blanking on his name? Doug.
You talked to Doug. You did.
Oh,
talk to
everyone talked to Doug. That makes sense.
Yeah, and he gave me this fake sense of security, which is fine. It's part of the game. But yeah, I do regret not doing more.
From what I was seeing in the first episode.
Yeah. It's okay though.
So Natalia, looking back on the situation, if you could go back all the way 4 years ago, how would you have changed after the challenge? How would you have changed your strategy?
I definitely just talk to people more and try to build more relationships, because I feel like I was just kind of on the outside looking in and seeing where things are gonna go. But after seeing everybody play a bigger part in including themselves, I wish I would have done that. I would have brought the $20. Next time I'll be ready. Catch me in the dining hall.
Fully. Now, I do have a couple questions about what were your perceptions of the other people you were playing with? You got to meet them all. You got to hear Eric say his things, and you got to follow behind. And just what did you see of the other people you were playing with?
What did I see? I thought. Okay, so I thought Tim. I always kind of thought oh, he's good. He's doing a good job. He plays the part. But then when I saw him say oh, I like Natalia, I would want to keep her. He said something along those lines. And then when everyone was shit talking me, he didn't say oh, no, I like her. Not even a little bit. Not even maybe she's worth keeping. So I think maybe I don't like that side of him, and I don't know how that plays into the game later on. And
He didn't fight for you.
Yeah, so I'm is he gonna be like that about everything, or was he didn't feel that strong about me? But and Dale, I kind of being there, I remember her doing more, talking more, doing more things. But in the first episode, I didn't see a lot of that. She seems kind of laid back, not doing a lot.
Now, Dale was big on the "Let's get Teresa out" train.
Yeah, which I was surprised, but. And actually, I didn't realize that so many people didn't like her, because when we were there, everyone was being so friendly. Everyone was like, yeah, Teresa. And I was like, oh my God, they all like her. How am I going to get her out? But that's another thing. Sadie, I don't remember her much from when we were there, but watching the episode, I was like, wow, she's pulling a lot of weight. So I like her. I was like, okay, Sadie. And those are the main ones. Chris is kind of, nothing's bland to me.
Chris who?
Chris and who else? There's Tim, who I talked about. Eric. I know that a lot of people loved him because I read the comments and they're like, yeah, let's go, Eric. But to me, he's just still a little strange. I feel like he'll go far, but he'll lose it at the end. He won't be the winner.
Natalia, you look at this situation, you look at the episode, you remember your feelings. Who is it from your tribe that you see going far? Because obviously it's being first boot, there's not as much of an overview that you know.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm going to put my money on Doug and Sadie. We'll see.
I believe it.
The false sense of security, it's
I mean,
regret
like me, who else won't he play,
fully.
And Sadie, I just see her as strong. I'm homegirl's out here with the leg brace and she was pulling her weight. I like that. Strong woman vibes.
Love it. Well, Natalia, we really appreciate it. It's so nice to have you back. Truly a robbed queen that we wish we had more time to get to know. It's just unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, it happens, right?
It does happen. The bright side, Teresa didn't even vote you.
I know. Oh my God, I felt so bad when I saw that. I was like, oops. But yeah, I mean, it was a fun experience. So I thank you guys for that. And regardless of the outcome. So thank you. And I can't wait for what's to come. I'll be watching that episode for sure.
I can't wait for you to be they're not as funny. Not as funny. You're
I know.
Tim, where?
Catch me in the comments. That joke, though. But yeah, thank you so much, guys.
Of course. Thank you, Natalia. Have a wonderful night.
Bye.
Bye.
Wow, what a queen.
What an absolute queen.
After that, I need more confessionals from her. Now,
Oh, I know. I truly do wish that I had more Natalia footage. It's always unfortunate when it's like they go home and they also didn't have like a full saga of I'm gonna play hard and like here's 18 videos of me trying to convince them.
Honestly, I'll take her like just iconic like closing statement, like her final words. I was like, I'll take that. That's all she.
So let's also talk a little bit more about the STEM tribe. So obviously, Dane and Natalia weren't involved in the initial lunch meeting because, like Natalia said, we transitioned to a system of all you can eat, and you had to have the dining plan to get into a diner. And if you didn't, you either needed to get a pass from someone who did or $20. And it's the first day. You're not about to be like, here's my one pass I get for the semester. So Natalia and Dane were completely separated, and Dane in his confessional says, you know, Natalia, she's just going with the flow, she's on her phone, she doesn't seem really committed. From your perspective, let's say that you are a player, if you didn't have a dining plan, what would you do, and is Dane's logic in this moment good or flawed?
After that first day, you need to do everything you can to not be the first one away from your tribe. You need to stay with your tribe as long as you can. Honestly, I'd spend the $20.
I probably would
I'd
too.
be physically with the tribe. Like, I would do everything I could to make sure I was not the odd one out.
Erin will go to someone's room with the tribe. She says, this is great. Cool.
Yeah, it's true.
No, I just saw a comment that said South Campus Dining Hall food is worth $8 max, which is true, but you never want to be the one that's the first person to be stepping away from your tribe, or that just gives them an easy reason to pick you off if no one else is standing out as like awkward, and even with Eric kind of standing out, like Natalia still was the one to go. So you definitely want to be involved as much as you can for that first round or two.
No, yeah. I think that's why Dane did a good job of like not convincing, but like throwing Natalia's name out there because he was the other person who wasn't there. So in a sense, that's like you, not me, kind of thing.
My thought is if like it to me is like you can go, you can pay the $20 or not, like whatever. But like if you're gonna make the decision to then like just FaceTime in, like be present, and then like you have to then go above and beyond after that to reach out to people, like to like meet up with people, to connect with people. Like you need to then be like, I need to make up for lost time, right? Like that to me is where like that's where it fell apart.
So after that, we see the formation of Doug, Chris, Amanda, and Tim. And in that moment, you know, Amanda gives us her take on it, where it's like, I work better with men. So I can already see your face, Erin.
I'm not an Amanda fan either. I'm sorry. Like, she was just immediately like, it just rubbed me the wrong way. Like, she was like, you know, I don't think the girls would want to work with me. Like, you know, like she had that kind of attitude of like, girls don't really like me. Just like, and I hate that. I thought I was like, okay, you can work with the guys, but how about like I don't know. I just didn't like the way she was going about it. Like it made so much sense when it was like, oh, we're all the South Campus sophomore engineers. I was like, yeah, great. That's a great reason for an alliance. But when she was like, she's like, I just think like, I don't think Sadie likes me. I think Teresa would come after me. It's like, you haven't heard any of this. You're just pulling this out of your ass. Like, you don't know. I don't know why I don't know.
To give her just an iota of credit, Sadie did like after, I don't know if you saw the Steal the Bacon round. Amanda gets stuck in the hoop, and then Sadie says that later, like, get out. Sadie did not like Amanda, like she wanted to get her out because of that moment. So to be fair to Amanda, I don't think she was wrong on her read that I think someone like Sadie, who was excited for Steal the Bacon, doesn't like me because I lost us the round. But fair. I can understand why, as a woman and like as someone who's watching it, her attributing like I work better with men is like cool.
Yeah, like I get it. I don't know. I work better with guys too, but like I don't actively avoid working with girls, and that's what it seemed like she was doing.
But, yeah.
Like, I think there are plenty of ways of saying like, oh, I work better with men without being like, I don't like women. I don't trust this person because they're a woman, you know, stuff like that. because I'm the same way. I work better with men. So like I just try to find a way about it that doesn't make me seem like come off that way that Amanda did for like a slight confessional. I was like, ooh, that really rubbed me the wrong way. But other than that, I think she'll come back from it. I really have high hopes for Amanda.
Luke, did you have something you
My
wanted to
other
say?
take on Amanda that people haven't really covered is I was just gonna say that I feel like she is a game player. Like I think Teresa was talking about how like she's like Amanda knows the game. So that part I am very curious to see, like, is that gonna come out more in the episode? Like I'm curious to see where Amanda goes from here.
Amanda also, her first confessional was, sorry to interrupt you, Luke, was, I'm so excited to play this game. I've been waiting all summer. She's someone who immediately came in and said, I'm excited to play Survivor.
Yeah, first thing I wrote down for her was like super fan because of that.
Changing my perspective. But no, yeah, just as a host, I really hope she does open up because like closing any doors to any relationships, whether that be you work well with guys or you don't work well with women, like just closing the doors to anything is just a bad sign. You should be able to like talk to anyone and see if there's a relationship there, not just close it off based on assumptions or what one person says in a heated challenge. So yeah.
Yeah, Teresa literally came to Amanda because Teresa was like, I don't know the game, and Amanda does. So I want to work with her. And Amanda immediately is like, she's like, I don't know if the guys would want to work with Teresa.
Well,
So,
Teresa does come in and say, Teresa came in and said, yeah, if there's going to be an alliance, it's going to be between us two.
And Doug is right there.
And then also says, I think Delaram's a threat because of her roommate.
In front of Doug, that was so freaking awkward.
Yeah, Doug was really third wheeling that conversation.
I liked that it cut straight to him being like, good, nice to hear. That was
but let's talk about this Doug, Tim, Chris, Amanda alliance. What do we feel about it? Obviously, Amanda was a target and still might be. And those three aren't only loyal to her. So where do we feel about that alliance? What do we see happening with it?
Oh, go ahead, Luke.
Okay. I love Doug. I think he has pockets in every single conversation, especially with like Sadie, and he was in that conversation with Amanda and Teresa. Like Natalia said, Chris and Tim, right? They just I didn't really get anything from them. It just seemed vanilla to me. But who knows? Maybe they'll spike up. And
the two tall white guys.
No, yeah. I mean, as a tall POC, we no, but I don't know. We'll see. Aaron, you go.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that like Doug, Chris, and Tim are gonna be more loyal to the six. Like I think they're gonna try to protect Amanda, like if they can, like they could here, like they could kind of shift that target to Natalia. But I don't think that they're gonna like throw away their games just to keep their one vote around. When they could, instead be in a solid 6-person alliance with 3 other strong players like Dalaram, Sadie, and Dane.
Ditto. They basically said exactly how I feel as well.
So we see this 6 form between Dalaram, Dane, Sadie, Chris, Doug, Tim. And they don't initially settle on a target. They have to sort of discuss all the different options because someone like Dalaram is like, Teresa? Nah. And Sadie's like, Amanda? Let's get her out. And then Doug, Tim, and Chris are just like, how about not Amanda? What about Teresa or not Amanda? So like that 6, where do we feel that? 6 is a large alliance in a tribe of 10. So where do we feel about that? Do we think that it's going to hold for a while? Do we think it's doomed to fail and we'll see some cracks? Where do we see cracks even forming?
I think it was good for this vote, but once they all kind of go forward with their diverging interests, it's going to get a little complicated. Like if any of them ever want to work with Teresa or Chris, or obviously the 3 guys like Doug, Tim, and Chris want to work with Amanda. So if like once they start to come after those people, they just have to evaluate at that point. Like, is this 6 more important to me than like it's going to come down to whether they think they're going to ride out this 6 to the end, or if they want to keep around their, like, I guess, periphery, people, their periphery alliances.
Yeah. To me, I think they have probably one more easy vote if they really want it in Teresa, I think. I just think she's not as connected and is already very much like standing out. But after that, you have people that are going to want to protect Amanda for sure. And Eric has like kind of an in with Dane. So like, I think after that, it gets very complicated. And so because of that, depending on how like forward thinking all these people are, it could also get complicated next vote, right? Like, I think we see it in the little bit of like next on is like people are kind of worried about those 4 like South Campus people. So if that becomes like we need to make sure we're good for like the next few tribals, you could see something shake up at this next like vote that they would go to.
Yeah, actually, I could see them, like those 4 South Campus people, like picking up Teresa as another vote and then going against the other 4. Just because I know like Teresa and Chris like worked closely right before Tribal, and they were like, Chris voted for Dane also, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. He did.
So, I feel like that's a solid connection between Chris and Teresa at least. So I don't think that's going to necessarily be as easy of a vote.
And we'll get to that point, the voting point soon, because it is a weird vote. It's the first vote, and we have 3 people get votes. Trust me, I was just as surprised. I was like, what a weird thing to do. But it very much speaks to the people are not, the STEM tribe is not like as we are one. They're very much like splitting off onto their diverging interests already. So we also have 2 sort of pair meetings occur. Or 3, I guess. So we have Eric and Dane, where Eric tells Dane his advantage. He's the only person to know of the advantage outside of Eric and Liam on the other tribe. How do we feel about Eric's decision to do that? I know, Cooper, you mentioned earlier you liked it a lot. And is it a smart thing to do to tell someone what this hidden advantage does? Because Dane could easily go to his 6-person alliance and tell them, effectively destroying the power this advantage has.
I think you have to. I mean, I guess I'll touch on this again. I think he already made himself like stand out. So he needs to make sure that he's good with at least 1 or 2 people. On top of the fact that you have to kind of assume that the advantage that Liam got is probably the same thing. So it's not like you are the only one with this information. Like, if you keep this quiet, it will not be found out. Like, to me, the information is going to come out anyway because it's already in 2 different spots. So you might as well use it to your advantage rather than like not tell anybody. And then people are eventually going to know what it is anyway, and they're not going to trust you. So I was like, to me, find some people you trust and tell them what it is.
No, I agree. This is a little different than like just like happening upon an idol or finding an idol clue. Like, you can't just hide this because someone else has the likely exact same advantage, and they're probably going to tell people. So you can't just be like, I'm going to keep this to myself and no one's going to ever find out about it. Like, someone will probably know, which is why I think it really helped to build him those relationships early on.
Yeah, I think it also could have been like, I don't know that it's necessarily a safe assumption to assume that they both have the same advantage. I think that like you could think that, but it would also be like just as likely that it's a different advantage.
It could be like, oh, this is a STEM advantage,
right? Exactly.
Humanities advantage.
Exactly. I would just love to hear what Luke has to say on the potential of lying about advantages.
I mean, no. I mean, when you're a guy like Eric, I think I agree with Cooper. You're already out there. You're already the weird one. You have to go with it and get social connections and be that person until you need to. And I think he's doing a good job with it. And I think he made the right decision to tell people, because people are going to talk about it. It's going to be a force of emphasis later on. And yeah, why lie about it when you know everyone knows you have it?
So do we think Liam should tell like Jasmine then, or like anybody in his circle? Because at the same time, like, I don't know. I think if it I don't know. You have to wonder when it's going to come up too. Like,
you also see in this episode, only the tribes themselves know which person won, except Santi mentions it out loud while Doug is there that Liam won the advantage.
Right. Yeah. That creates an interesting sense of like tribe unity, of like, you could all decide to hide from the other tribe which person on your tribe has the advantage, or different things like that. Like lie about who has it or things like that.
That's also another thing that people. That's also another thing that people would be like, "Oh, we hate Liam, the cleats, and now the advantage." So like, who knows?
I actually want to go. You mentioned the idol clue, and I want to go back to this moment. So, Morgan and Jasmine are trying to find this idol clue, going off information that Liam gave her about where him, Mike, and Santi look, and they go to this rock climbing wall. They go to the renting center. They see a portrait of a waterfall, which they relate to Great Falls. They see a table and a ball on top of it. And it says, "Don't drop the ball." And it also references crawl. So they look underneath and they find a piece of tape. I don't know if this is a spoiler. It's not there. It never was there. So when I hear this story, when I see the video, like when they tell me in confessional, I'm shocked. I'm like, I cannot believe this existed, because now it's like it all makes too much sense. It's like, it does, and it's not true. You're wrong.
I mean, you have to assume somebody just like left a baseball there, like on accident or something, right? Like it's not a
They
decoration.
find a piece of tape, and they wouldn't use just any tape to hide this idol.
So it's not found, right? Because I was like, oh, was it just found and we're going to like edit into the next episode? Because I was like, that's super weird that they've just like, they're completely set that it's gone, that it's not coming back. Also, why would it be hidden indoors? Like, I guess that's maybe just from personal experience. Have they been indoors in the past?
I totally just froze for a full 30 seconds. So I assume what you just were saying is like, it's indoors. That's never happened before. No, we don't usually hide them indoors because we have to have 24-hour access to it. So, but it could be. I don't know if that, but yeah, going off what I think you said, I've never hidden one indoors.
No, I wouldn't have just stopped if I found some tape inside under a table. I don't know. But maybe that's just because I'll go to whatever lengths it means, even if I know the idol's been found. But I just think they were so set on just stopping looking when they found a singular piece of tape on a random table. I don't know. I did find
with a ball and a picture.
I know. I found that interesting. Kind of funny.
Okay, so we can cut to the tribal. We have the vote be Natalia. The targets, of course, being Natalia, Dane, and Teresa, who all receive votes. Do you think this is the right choice?
Yeah. I think enough people had connections with Dane. I think the least other connected person was Teresa. But I think that Teresa is somebody that she has a less likelihood of slipping in through the shadows than Natalia did. Because if Natalia would have made it past this vote, I feel like she would have made it pretty deep. Because she would have been able to kind of hide behind people. She wasn't really talking to many people. People would have gone after each other before they were going to go after her. So Teresa's going to be there to, she's already kind of rubbing people the wrong way in some aspects. So, she's going to be there to continue to be an out front personality that at least one person's always going to want to go after.
Yeah,
I think it was the right choice. I agree with Aaron. You know what you're getting with Teresa, and you don't really know what you're getting with Natalia. So I think the fact that first vote, don't mess around with it too much. Get the person that didn't really talk much because you don't know what they're talking about. I think it was a smart move, and I think they made the right one. Even though Rob Queen, it should have been someone else, but whatever.
I think Teresa was kind of stirring the pot a little bit more was something I noticed right away. So I was kind of surprised not to see her go just because she was kind of causing more drama. If I were in Doug's shoes and she said right in front of me, do you think that since this person is a roommate, we should be threatened by them? That, I would instantly be all right, gotta go, next. But I do see why Natalia was a good move for them. I just think Teresa was more in the limelight. I was expecting her to go at the tribal, but maybe that's just that I have bad predictions. So
great. So we saw that Teresa and Chris voted for Dane, and Natalia voted for Teresa. We know why Natalia voted for Teresa, if not from her own admission, because, well, it's Teresa. But why do we think that Chris voted with Teresa? We know why Teresa voted for Dane, because she said as much, even though no one said to do it.
I don't know. To me, it seemed like why not just tell her what's going on? Why? I don't like. He's clearly, to me, it was like, oh, I told Teresa that like I was gonna vote Dane. Like that's like what was happening. Blah blah blah. So like I have to follow through with that if like I still want her on my side. But like you could do the same thing and just be like, hey, everyone's voting Natalia. Like, what is the issue here? Part of me was like, are they trying to like make sure like something weird doesn't happen with an idol, like whatever? But like, then why put the votes on Dane? Like that doesn't really make sense to me. I was confused on that. I think, to me, I was like, just tell Teresa what's happening.
I think that was literally Chris deciding that he valued his relationship with Teresa more than he valued his relationship with Dane. Like, because first of all, you should never write somebody's name down if you're not okay with them going home. Like, you should just not do that.
Hey, Luke, how are you?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm doing good.
But, also, yeah, I just, you know, he was clearly trying to just, save face with Teresa, because I think they probably assumed, because, she did say as much. She's like, I'm going to vote for Dane. Like, they were like, okay, I guess she's just going to vote for Dane. Like, go ahead and do that. And then Mike was like, not Mike, Chris. Chris was like, I told her that I was going to vote for Dane, so I would like to save face with somebody that, like, could work with me down the road. So that should actually, like, be a big red flag to, like, Dalaram, Sadie, and Dane.
It's going to be interesting to see afterwards, the next episode, if people stay bitter like Aaron and try to figure out who voted for. I lost my track. Try to figure out what happened there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's gonna be interesting with Dalaram and Sadie and all of them. So yeah, I just wanted to get that piece in with Aaron. So keep going.
Always good. Always good.
Andrew, can we actually take a 5-minute segment where just like Luke and Aaron like kind of just chat and like entertain us and talk about stuff? No.
So Aaron,
disclosure.
Aaron, after writing 3 paragraphs about how awful of a person Luke is, what are your opinions? No, I'm kidding. We don't have to go into this. So, obviously, Natalia's gone. Dane received votes and Teresa received votes. We don't know what's going to happen next time, but I'm a little curious. Who do we all have as winner picks? Who do we see as the next one to go? Where do we see this all going? So we'll start with, who do we see next to go from either tribe? And it doesn't, I mean, there are some obvious answers, but I think like a lot can change in an episode. So there's no wrong answers.
I love Eric, but I think his time is limited on the island. I don't think he's going to be there very long. I think people are kind of using him as like a little instrument as a vote, considering he has that advantage. So, but I am rooting for him. I really like him, but I don't think he's going to last very long.
Who do you think from
I'm going to
Takasha?
say... Oh, sorry.
Lily, who from Takasha? The Red Tribe, Humanities.
Okay, going back in my brain, trying to think of who's on which tribe.
This is why I took notes.
I know. I'm having trouble remembering who's on.
You want me to name all of them?
Evan.
That would help, like a list.
Evan, Josh, Mike, Liam, Santi, Ivy, Jasmine, Angie, Morgan, Abby.
Morgan's the one I got the least from the episode, and then the one guy who showed up late, was that Evan?
Yeah.
Yeah, Evan and Morgan were the ones that I didn't really get to hear much from, so I don't know. If they went to Tribal, I'd like to see if they get a little bit more showtime in the spotlight, but
Yeah.
we'll have to see.
Interesting. I actually thought I liked Morgan. I think from the little we saw from her, I actually think she is in not a horrible spot. I think if they go, Evan is in such trouble over there. maybe Ivy somehow, but I just see Evan going. And on the other side, I do think probably Teresa. Like, that is still the easy vote over there, so I'm going to take the easy way out, and that's what I'm going to go with.
Classic STEM response.
For mine, for the STEM side, probably. See, this talk made me kind of second guess it because of the Chris Teresa thing, but I would probably say Teresa at this point. But who knows? Something can happen. Chris and Teresa could buddy up and form a 5 with those other guys. For the Humanities Tribe, I want to say Evan, but I don't know. A sneaking suspicion says Mike for me. I don't really know why. With that next on, I think like with Evan and Ivy talking and like Mike saying I don't like Ivy, I think there's something brewing over there with Mike, as well as Santi and Mike. I mean, Santi talked to Mike, but he doesn't really trust him yet. So who knows? It could be Mike. And we're doing winners pick yet or no?
We'll do that right after. So Erin still has to say her hot takes.
Yeah, I actually liked a lot of what Luke said. But
there's a first for everything.
I know. I love Luke. Okay, you guys.
All right.
I have a text to say otherwise, but
anyway, I think if STEM Tribe goes, I'm gonna call it that those 5 are gonna stick together, like the 4 South Campus sophomores plus Teresa. Like, I think that's why Chris voted with her. I think that he was trying to solidify that. So I'm gonna say that Dane is in trouble if they go again, just because they've already written his name down. It's gonna be easier to just do that again. And Teresa's obviously very anti-Dane. It cuts his connection with both that 3 that he's in with like Dollarama and Sadie, and he's got a connection with Eric. So on the other side, I think he is the biggest threat there. So I'm going to say that they would take out Dane. If Humanities goes to Tribal, I think it's going to be either Ivy or Evan. Because like I do agree with a lot of what Luke was saying, like seeing that preview with like what Mike and everything like that. But the problem is Ivy has no pull from what I've seen, and I don't think she's necessarily on track to gain any. So I think it is going to be her or Evan going. But I feel like Evan is going to pull himself out of it, and that's just me being hopeful. So I'm going to say Ivy for Humanities.
Evan's got some real swallow upside without any of the previous connections or Survivor knowledge. Okay, so let's talk winner picks. Obviously, there are 19 people still left. Natalia doesn't win, I'm sorry to say. But, you know, Evan could end up winning it. There's nothing in the stars that says he doesn't. So if you want to pick Evan, I have no problem with that. But I'm curious to see who you think the winner is going to be and why. Because here's the thing, too, about the first episode. The winner could even have a smaller edit because it's like, well, it's not always just a story about how they won. It's a story of how it transpired that they won. Not every winner needs to be showy and apparent from day one. It can be apparent from the last day, and that's all that matters, and it's just as respectable. Anyways.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'll go, since I went last for that one, I'll go first for this one. My winner pick is going to be Sadie, just because I feel like she can like take all of Doug's connections because she's working very closely with him. So she can take all of Doug's connections, but not be in the front of all of those like relationships, but still use them, still be behind them, and still like be able to utilize them, but in a much more background way than Doug will. It's going to catch up to Doug a lot more quickly than it would ever catch up to Sadie. So I'm going to lock her in as my winner pick.
I guess I'll go. I am jumbling between 2 people. Maybe it's because I edit also, so I can see how one person could be thrown in there. The person that I'm balancing with, that's not my winner's pick, is Josh. Just because he's a transfer student and he was in there just in the beginning, it didn't really like fit. So I'm like, he could have a power run, who knows? But I'm gonna go with Morgan. I said it in the beginning. I think she's the chill, laid back person, kind of in the mix, but not on top. She's with that tape alliance. I really want to see what happens there next time. And yeah, I think she'll be fine.
I love the little, if it's not true, it's like, what a weird moment to put in. It didn't fit in. Such a bad editing choice. No,
if like...
No, I know what you meant. I had
one confessional from the winner, I would have put that in. So I'm just saying.
No, I get it. I think it's just funny. Hoover, you...
I am surprised no one has said this yet, but I'm going to go with Jasmine. So, like I've been very open. I think her and Liam are in a great spot. But obviously Liam has a bigger target. I think the other tribe doesn't like him as much already. He's got the advantage. And I just think Jasmine has been very perceptive as well. So I think
she's my second choice. So I do. Yeah.
She's
Lily.
I definitely think Jasmine's up there for sure. But I'm gonna go. I like to choose my winners picks off of edits alone, and I choose like someone who got a lot of confessionals, who seemed to have like a lot of power in the first episode, which I personally think was Doug, at least on that tribe. So I'm gonna pick Doug, also just because he's my friend. So yeah, I think he got the edit of a winner, but.
Yeah, I mean, it's always interesting to hear edit charts and to hear people's opinions, because it's like it could be incidental. Austin just joined now. What a cutie! The other Survivor Maryland. You missed Natalia. The absolute queen was here. You can go back about 40 minutes. I know time flies when we're not with the queen. But yeah, so we've got Jasmine, Morgan, Sadie, and Doug as the four winner picks. So we got 2 and 2 between STEM and STEM and Humanities. Queen is right. Did you? I didn't ask her. She thought I was funny because I don't personally want to be attacked right now. I'm gonna go with she did, and she just thought her tribe mates weren't funny. And I will not accept any other answers. So, yeah, I think we're in for a season. It'll be interesting to see if Humanities or STEM comes out on top. I know we have a bias for Humanities here. It could be a STEM victory. Hard to say. There's 4 of us versus you, Cooper. Don't make a face. So I guess I really want to thank you all. If you have anything that you want to plug or anywhere that people can follow you, feel free to highlight that now. You guys don't have anything to plug, so it's okay.
I'll let Aaron plug season 3.
Oh my god, okay. Yeah, so season 3 of Survivor Michigan is coming out right now. We have 9 episodes released so far. It's only going to get crazier from here. This last episode was pretty fantastic for yours truly personally. So yeah, tune in. You can watch me. You can see Cooper's cute face too. And yeah, so follow Survivor UMich on all social media. And if you want to like search up eSickery at all, you can do that too.
Luke, if you want to. I do have anything to plug.
I'll take a stab. So, yeah, season 2, Survivor Syracuse, coming out October 24th or 22nd, whatever that Thursday is. I should know the date. You won't be able to see the beautiful face of Cooper, but you will see mine. What I'll say is it's a very gut-wrenching season. If you know our social media, Survivor Syracuse, you've seen some of the cast members. It's very toxic. Get ready for strategy-filled season, and I'm excited for it. So, yeah.
Lily, do you have anything to plug? When Survivor Maryland season 12 coming out?
Survivor Maryland season 12. It's coming out September of 2025. You'll really see me shine. No, I'm kidding. I don't think I have anything to plug. I'm trying to think. No. Catch me in like 4 years though.
Ooh, we'll see you sooner than later. I'm sure of it. But yeah, Survivor Maryland season 7 coming out next week as well. Get ready for episode 2. We'll see what wild zany adventures our survivors get into that week. But I really do want to thank you all for coming on. It's been a pleasure. We've been here for nearly 90 minutes, which is so incredible because that's probably the shortest amount of time I've spent talking about the show in the past couple of days. But no, I really do thank you all, and thanks everyone for watching. Bye.
Bye.